how they say you get to meet your heroes, but then also work with them. I got one of my heroes, Mikey, on the show. Mikey, what you doing, man?
What up, dude? I'm just I'm back. I'm happy to be here. I've never co-hosted a show before, so everybody be patient with me. And
You're
thank you.
usually the one getting interviewed, man. So, but this is one
Yeah.
where Mikey, I'm telling you, man, there's these artists that we follow from day one. And we've already kind of broke
Yeah.
down how much we follow you. There's drummers, and I feel like every drummer gets some love, but there's those epic next level elite drummers, right? You think about
Yeah.
Yogi from Demon Hunter, obviously Lars, shout out, and some of the metal drummers. There's a drummer that literally has no, you can't even explain in words how good he is. Plays for Overkill, and obviously Shadows Fall from the beginning. The one and only Jason Bittner is stopping by today, so I don't want to waste any time. I want to get into it and bring on this metal icon. Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm first of all, I'm flattered and I'm doing well, thank you. I'm trying not to melt in the Lubbock heat for a minute.
Well, Jason, thank you again. It's an honor, Mike and I. We'll keep it quick for you, but there's some questions that the audience over the years has cultivated that we want to ask you as an artist and musician. So the first one, and then I'll give it to Mikey for two. Thinking about you playing, watching you, expanding career, what you're doing with obviously Shadows Fall and Overkill. There's drummers, man, I'd literally define the band, right? I think about one of my favorite bands is All That Remains and the drummers, and there's just, you guys are icons. When you think about playing from day one back in the day, take me back, man. When did you first start playing drums? How old were you?
I first started, I was probably like 3 or 4. My grandparents used to have this picture of me. I was probably like maybe like 4 years old, out in the backyard with like 2 giant sticks, like just bashing on the old aluminum garbage cans. So it was probably a precursor to what was going to happen. I started taking formal drum lessons like in school in 3rd grade. So I technically started playing for real at 8. I guess you would say, like, starting actual lessons and having a practice pad. But I've had some form of sticks in my hands, whether it been the tree branches out of my grandmother's backyard or my mother's wooden pots and pans or spoons and stuff since 3 or 4. So
wow.
I don't know really where it came from either, to be quite honest with you, because there was nobody in my family preceding me that was musical. So
really?
This is just one of those odd things. And then once I saw Kiss in 1976, I was like, that's what I want to do. But I wanted to be Gene Simmons. I didn't want to be Peter Criss. I wanted to be the guy that spit blood and breathed fire.
I love it. So before Mikey takes two, obviously, I mean, I watch you and I try to emulate you. All seriousness, when I started playing, I was about 7. Did you pick up guitar and bass too, or has it strictly been, rhythm and drums?
I actually started playing guitar when I started playing drums. Like I always had like toy guitars and toy drum sets. And there was a period of time where it's kind of funny because I always look back now thinking, because like right around like 14 or 15, I had like a crappy electric guitar, but I'm left-handed playing guitar. So it was always having to restring a righty guitar, and lefty guitars were so expensive, and my mother wasn't made out of money, and I was already playing drums. So I got a real lefty guitar, like for Christmas one year. It was my mother's usual question was, all right, well, what cymbals do you want? Because it was usually me getting a cymbal or something at Christmas. And I was like, I want that's that drum sound, which is the music store that I worked at. So I got this guitar like when I was like 15, 16 or so. And I went through a period of time, like through my sophomore and junior year of high school, where I was actually playing more guitar than I was drums. And I actually wanted to kind of pursue that more. My problem is I have small hands and small fingers. So somewhere around like middle of my junior year, I was like, all right, back to the drums.
I love it. Got it. So both. So man, it's a story of usually one instrument, all instruments. I know, Mikey, you talk about that. If you want to, Mikey, lead into question 2, actually, man.
Yeah, it was funny just now. This isn't the question, but I was going to say you arguably chose the most expensive instrument in the end.
Absolutely. I actually, if I was smart, I would have just chose a woodwind instrument or something.
Yeah.
Or just be a singer,
or be the singer. Just carry the microphone.
So, I think the worst, there's nothing else. There really isn't anything worse than drums. Expensive stuff. Nobody wants to help you carry it.
Yeah. So
dude, one man.
What's your most memorable gig?
Yeah.
there's been a lot of them, but I would say, and it's not to discount anything with my bands or my career, but I think probably the most memorable ones was the first two shows when I filled in for Anthrax the first time in 2005, because I was literally stepping into my hero's shoes. He was entrusting me with his band and his legacy on the Among the Living tour with the Among the Living lineup. Those were two pretty amazing shows in my career. And the other one would be the two times that I was lucky enough to play Walk on stage with next to Dimebag when we were touring.
That's amazing, dude. That's amazing.
Dressed up as Vinnie Paul, which was even funnier.
Oh my gosh, dude, rest in peace.
Yeah, just YouTube Shadows Fall Mini Paul.
Yeah, dude, I can totally relate to you on the whole stepping in your hero's shoes, because last December I ended up having to fill in for Sonny from POD, and they had been one of my biggest influences growing up. And when Sonny came to me and was like, hey, can you fill in for this show, I was like, yeah, but I don't want to. I'm scared now.
Really lucky to have some great filling gigs, and also to just play with some of my favorite bands over my whole career, whether it was, Overkill, Flotsam, Prong. It's just the list goes on and on.
Man, I think, Mikey, that's a great way you put that. So kind of looking at question 3, Jason, because I know, like you said, you mentioned like Gene Simmons and just the plethora of icons that you are part of. Is there, it's hard to know who's that person for your life.
You can stop the question right now. Neil Peart. That's it.
Got you. Yeah. Got you. Yeah. I had a similar.
Quite honest, Buddy was the greatest drummer that ever lived, and Neil was the second greatest drummer as far as I
love it.
So many other great drummers. I mean, I can't. There's Neil, and there's Bozio and Weckel and Vinnie Colaiuta and my good friend Steve Smith. All these amazing players that molded me before, like all the metal stuff, or like that's a whole other separate category to me. It's like all these monster drummers that I listened to, from the time I was a kid into the 80s and everything and beyond. And the whole metal thing is a whole other ball of wax. Clyde Byrne, Nick McBrain, Dave Lombardo, Charlie Benante, Pete Sandoval from Morbid Angel, Sean Reiner. It's just, there's so many people.
No way.
If I have one person, it's Neil.
I love it. I love that.
Awesome.
I've taken the most things from Neil, not only in my playing, but in my personal life and the way I see things. And I was very, 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 very lucky to be friends with this man. And I'm getting choked up just thinking about him, but he was such an amazing person. And just, all the things if you want to encompass the word hero, he was that. He was
that's cool to hear, man.
Not
that's
a
cool.
disappointment at all. Let's just put it that way.
That's cool to hear.
Jason, I don't believe in pandering and all that. The way you probably feel about Neil, getting a chance to work with maybe a small tingle of what I feel getting a chance to work with people like yourself and Mikey, I can't imagine. So that's cool, man. I thank you for sharing that. Mikey,
it literally took my breath away when he walked by me the first time. When I physically saw him walk 10 feet in front of me, I literally went like, this is the funniest thing, because the first time that we met him, 2007, and we were backstage for the Rush show, and we were in this little, kind of kitty corner area backstage, and Michael, his security guy, went out to the bus to go get him. So they had to walk by us to go to the dressing room. And I always tell this story because Neil was like, 6'5". He was huge. And when he walked by with that long stride and everything that he had, he looked like the Sasquatch picture from like the 70s when they caught the Sasquatch. That's what it looked like. And I just went, oh my God,
that's amazing.
He's real, and there he is. Oh my
God. I know they always say don't meet your heroes, but isn't it great?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. But you know what? As much as I was so excited to meet him, I was the most nervous I've ever been to meet any drummer was when I met Vinnie Colaiuta, because
really?
I was just like, oh my, all my Zappa influence was mostly Vinnie's stuff. And I was like, it's Vinnie Colaiuta. Like, it was like,
yes, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Man. That's crazy.
Yeah. So what do you guys have after this run? What's the rest of 2023 looking like for you guys?
For which band?
For Shadows Fall. Well, for you, how about just for you in general?
How about we just concentrate on the one that's working right this current minute?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Well, I can give you a list of the year because it's pretty much it's I have to have that compartmentalized in my head to keep everything straight. We're out on this tour until July 30th.
Understood.
And then play a show later in that week. August 6th, Overkill will be opening for Metallica at the MetLife Stadium in Jersey. So that's
small little gig.
Pretty freaking awesome. It's cool, and it's cool, but it's like, and obviously we're all psyched, but like my wife was like, well, this is awesome, but been there, done that for you. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Because Shadows opened for Metallica on Ozfest 2010. Awesome. So after that, September 9th, Overkill has Blue Ridge Festival in the States in Virginia. September 16th, Shadows Fall has New England Metal Fest in Worcester. September, I think it's like the 28th through like October 16th, Overkill goes back out for another US run, Midwest and East Coast leg. And then October 29th, Shadows Fall leaves for Florida. We have a show in Fort Lauderdale at the Culture Room on October 30th, and then we get on the Lamb of God cruise that goes.
Busy man.
Awesome. Nice.
Busy man.
We get back from that on the 5th. The following weekend, I might be going to Japan with Overkill if we're still playing the two shows. December, we have a show. We have a festival in Holland on the 9th, I think. No, the 8th. It's on Dime Day, actually. And that's it for the year. And aside from that, trying to get the back half of the Shadows Fall record completely written and recorded as well. I know we don't have any plans to sneak preview anything because we don't even have our deal locked in yet. Like we're talking to a lot of people and we're still kind of like, trolling the waters and seeing what we're going to do. So that's why we don't want to let anything go. We think the only people that we're playing any music to are people that are potentially going to put it out.
Understood. I got you, man. Well, whenever that time, we'll be waiting patiently. We can't wait. So can't wait to see when that day comes.
We're really hoping by early next year.
Awesome, man.
Dealing with John's, it's, sometimes can be juggling.
Yeah, you got a lot of things going on. It's totally understandable. There's a segment we do, and maybe not, because I know you've done, with the interviews you guys have done, there's a segment that we do on the show. It's called Rapid Fire. We love our fans. They give us some awesome, weird, random stuff from the internet. It's always PG, but it's weird. I love it. So I got some questions maybe you've never been asked before. We bet on this. So usually Mikey and I or our co-host will bet on who gets closest, and the winner gets lunch provided by the loser. So Mikey, I sent you my picks on this, and I'm going to run these. I know you have a little bit of involvement with wrestling. So the first question one, you are you're called up after a show one night. Hey, we'd like you, Jason Bittner, to come get in the ring. WWE, we're going to do a Legends match. You have to take on Brock Lesnar or Goldberg. Who are you getting in the ring with?
Absolutely Goldberg, because Goldberg's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Got it. I got you. Yep.
Got You're like spear and jackhammer me, dude.
Yeah, let's go.
I'll take it for the team. I'll take the spear.
Mikey's favorite wrestler is Sting, so it's funny the connections. I just in any case, talking about maybe doing a team builder day off, right? And somehow every drumstick on the planet disappears. You have no drumsticks for your gig, so you're showing up to the gig that night. You have two things you can choose as your sticks: one, the ends of some pool sticks, or two, some broken fishing poles to do the gig, and you're like packed out. Are you going with pool sticks or fishing poles to
play? My United app, and I'm going to get a ticket home.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
I'd pick the pool sticks.
Got you, man. I love it. So, yep. Cool. Yeah. The ends of it. Right. So I got you. Next one, you guys are, again, nothing's off the table. Reality doesn't exist. So you guys are going to do the new music video for the new single whenever that day comes down the road, whenever that is. And you are asked to either shoot the video in outer space or on top of a moving train. Which one are you guys going with?
Definitely outer space.
Got you.
Moving train does not sound fun.
I got you. Okay.
But
So
outer
now
space already sounds to me like that should be a mastodon system. No matter what, I already
you're just floating around doing your
around
thing,
up
you know.
there.
I love it. Now, last one, man, before I give it back to Mikey for the open mic. So your last concert of the tour, you're asked to do kind of a mascot thing. You have to if you've already done this, stop me, but you have to do the show in one of these two costumes. Are you going out on stage in a Godzilla costume or a King Kong costume?
Oh man.
There
Pick a Slipknot jumpsuit instead.
you go. There you go.
I would pick the King Kong costume probably because if that would, I don't know, but it might be easier to play in that because with Godzilla, then you got the giant head and you wouldn't be able to see out of it. I don't know.
I love it. Okay. I had you 3 for 5.
I'd pick the giant pink puppy thing that the videos where he's playing the metal songs in the giant like Pikachu costume.
I'm gonna check it out though. I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna check it out, man.
Go when you're done, go to YouTube and just go Pikachu thrash drummer or something like that.
Love it, man. Well, I went 3 for 5. So that was just a little segment we do, just something called rapid fire, just to kind of a little bit of a different way of showcasing your personality. Thanks for being a good sport. So for the last one, I'm handing it back to Mikey for the open mic part. So.
Yeah, I feel like as musicians, we're all kind of in the same boat. You know, we hopefully, as far as the ones that are passionate about it and love it, we're doing it for the love. I know for me personally in high school, growing up, when I was thinking about playing music for a living, I never really thought about the money aspect of it that much. It always kind of came down to, wouldn't it be rad to hang out with my friends and tour and play shows every night? And I just think that, I don't know, I can't speak for, you know, your bands or anything like that, but just you guys have always seemed genuine, man, and you guys have always seemed like you do it for the love of it. And I can just tell, even hearing you talk right now, you do it for the love of it. And I'm just grateful that there's still musicians out there that are you know, they're not in it to be rock stars. They love what they do. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, man.
I love it.
I would agree with you on that. You know, there's so many thoughts that go into that. You know, when I was like 17, 18, like the idea of musician to me just meant, you know, you were playing in front of a lot of people and you were on a tour bus and you got free gear. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that because I was still living at home in my mother's house. So I was, you know, wasn't thinking about, well, what if I have a mortgage and then all this other
right.
thing, and then life, and then I actually become an adult. So when I actually started like achieving a career, I didn't really start that trajectory till I was 31 years old. Yeah, I'd been slugging it out in the club for decades beforehand, but a lot of these people that I work with today, I've known since I was, you know, I met Blitz and Dee Dee when I was 23 years old, opening for them. You know, my old band opened for Overkill. They still remember it because it was like a, you know, corpse paint black metal band kind of, and you know, Blitz still laughs. He's like, I remember you would, you know, tearing down your giant drum set with corpse paint, you know, sweating off your face.
That's amazing.
This is a true story. So, but once we got out into the real world, and then, you know, Shadows Fall actually, you know, starts a trajectory and becomes a band and a popular band, at least for a period of time. There's ebbs and flows and there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
Trust me, there's been a lot of times, and especially in the last decade, where I'm like, you know, I come home.
We're all crazy, aren't we? We're crazy.
Why am I still doing this? And there's always a reason why. And eventually it comes back around and I realize why. And then something else happens and I go, I'm glad I didn't bow out then, because this would have never happened. And I'm glad I didn't make this decision because that wouldn't have happened. So you keep staying in the game as long as you can. At this point in my life, this is what I do. I'm not going to go back and get a warehouse job or go back to working computers like I was when I was 30 years old, because half of that stuff that I knew then is all now. It's all those programming languages and crap don't even exist anymore. Now I have to go back to school again. And I'm like, nope, just going to be a musician till I croak. That's what it's going to be. Yeah. And as long as, you know, we can just keep the lights on, and if I have to play in 4 or 5 different bands to make that happen instead of one, then you do it. You know, if I didn't enjoy doing this, I wouldn't still be doing it.
Absolutely.
I'm just very, very fortunate that my wife, God bless has put up with this for 20 some odd years, and she continues to put up with it. She
Yes.
doesn't like it, and I get that, because she's the one that has to sit home with the cats and not me. But
Mhm.
she knows when I'm out here, I'm not out here for the glory. I'm not out here trying to, whatever. I'm out here because I want to play drums for people. And that's
Yeah.
what she knows, and that's what she supports. And that's
I
awesome.
and that's what I respect, dude, because I see it in you. And yeah, shout out to our wives, man, that let us do this.
Man. Well, I think I talked to Mikey a lot about this, Jason, and it's neat that I know you said that the reasons you got into it now, it's something that you just do. I'm glad that you continue to make music that affects us. Every one of your albums at some point, we're talking about the journey of it, even with Overkill. There's been something that's affected us. So for those that that listen and continue to listen, thank you for not doing programming. No offense to that, but I'm glad you're playing drums as opposed to doing other things. Thank you for
I'm
doing
glad
that.
I'm not back working at the DMV again myself. I'm glad I'm not
man.
back there, but
thank you, man. Thank you.
The point is the one thing I want to, the listeners to take away too, is that you really should always have a backup plan though, because I just got lucky. I got lucky, and because of the stature and where I am as a player and what I can do, I'm able to stay employed. I was able to stay employed and deal with those ebbs and flows. But even when I was younger, I still knew the importance of staying in school, get my degree, have a good job, just have something in case the pipe dream of the musician doesn't work out.
It's a rough industry.
I don't want to paint a picture to people that like, oh, all you gotta do is learn how to play your instrument and you can make it. No,
it's not true.
A lot harder nowadays than it was 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
Well, I make notes, and I always joke with my typical co-hosts, Mikey and Jason. I got like 6 pages of notes. I'm just listening and just glistening this. I can't wait for the audience to hear this. Jason, when we first started communicating a few months back, it was really cool because, like I said, someone like yourself who you don't have to do these kind of things, and it just makes the fans love you even more. Taking time out of your day on a day off, man. I mean, on my day off, I don't even want to get out of bed. Like the fact that you'll do this, we really, really appreciate you. We got a pretty good database. We're on across the world now. It's from like here to Finland to Norway to Nigeria, man. So we got a good database, and metal lives on, man. So thank you for continuing to do this, and we really appreciate you stopping by. Okay, so
no problem.
Yeah,
Jason, we'll
real
go
quick,
ahead, Mikey.
I'm in a band called Islander. We tour with like Korn and Stone Sour, all those bands. Let's link up sometime, man. We want to tour with you guys. Any of your bands,
man.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah. I'll make sure I get that happening. Thank you again, Jason. Like I said, whatever the rest of the tour, we'll be watching as much as we can. I can't wait to hear some new stuff. So I'll get out of your hair. You're welcome to drop off, and we'll finish up. Okay. Thank you again for your time. It was an honor. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Man.
Have a good one, man. We'll be in touch. So, Mikey,
you.
Like I said, Mikey, thank you for, of course, I meant what I said when I've been communicating with you. What'd you think, man? From a musician like yourself and your stature, what'd you think of him?
Oh, dude, he's great, man. Again, it's just awesome to see people that are still doing it because they love it. And because there are people in our industry that you can tell that they don't love it, that they just do it now because that's kind of where they ended up, or because they want to be rock stars. And it's just nice to see, those of us that aren't doing it to be rock stars. And yes, like I've always said, you've got to make money to do things in life. But when it becomes about the money, that's when I don't want anything to do with the people.
Yeah. Because if it's about the money, a lot of times, and again, I always say, before I approached you and got the nerve to finally approach you, your music of what you guys make, and naturally it attracts people when you're genuine. And people like yourself and Jason, what rock star is going to say, hey, at the top of your guys' game, have a backup? That's cool. Like, just, hey,
absolutely,
get your degree.
Anything can happen, man. Anything can happen. We just don't know what tomorrow holds.
Right.
And we might not be in this industry anymore for some reason. And everybody should just know that, it's fleeting. It's not here forever. So enjoy it every day that you have it. And that's life in general. So
yeah.
I love you guys.
Thank you, Jason. Right. Thank you, Shadows Fall Overkill, Mikey Islander. Don't forget, as always, that we love you. And as Dane would say, thank you for listening.